this is one that I bet you probably know a bit more about this particular monster property than I do, if I had to guess. Could be wrong, but we're going to find out. I'm talking about, actually, this story involves one of my favorite directors ever. I love this guy. He does great work, but he's talking about this particular popular property that I'm interested in hearing more about, and I'm talking about The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and that director will be Robert Rodriguez. Apparently, it's not just him, it's another guy, this Greg Nicotero. The Walking Dead producer/director Greg Nicotero thinks that he and Robert Rodriguez could make a pretty great remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Speaking to comicbook.com, Nicotero, I'm going to trip over that name every time, talked about remakes and reimaginings because he's currently one of the folks behind Creepshow, the remake that airs on Shudder. And with his experience and absolute love of the original, the filmmaker believes that he and Robert Rodriguez could team up for a great creature film. I mean, I love Robert Rodriguez, so anything he makes, I'm going to watch. According to Nicotero, he says, and I do like some of the stuff he says here. Let me go through this real quick. I think for any creature monster kid, Creature from the Black Lagoon is the quintessential monster movie, Nicotero said. I think Robert Rodriguez and I always talk about like, hey man, maybe we should co-direct a Creature from the Black Lagoon movie, because he and I have identical taste. We love Jaws, we love The Thing, we love Escape from New York, and Blade Runner. We toy with the idea, like, this is written really weird. We toy with the idea of, like, wouldn't it be cool if we remade Creature from the Black Lagoon? And I know they've been trying to do it forever, but for me, that's the quintessential, I think I said quintessential Universal monster movie. All of these remakes and retellings and stuff, and the one thing that they need to have is they need to have respect and passion for the genre. I couldn't agree more with that. It's not just taking a title and putting your own spin on it, because if anybody can put whatever spin on that they want, because everyone's going to have a different approach. But you have to have respect for the original material, he added. I feel like that, for me, is one of the things that really drives me, because I have respect for the storytelling that was done on the original Creepshow and everything that George did, talking about George A. Romero, everything that Stephen King has done. So to have the ability to approach a project like that with respect, I feel, is the key ingredient in the success of rebooting anything. I don't know how you feel about it, and I don't know how much The Creature from the Black Lagoon means to you. Me, myself, I don't have like I'm aware of The Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's not like I have like this huge fondness of it. I think that it is something, that's one of the creatures besides, what was it, Monster Squad in the 80s, that we haven't seen since the originals. I think Robert Rodriguez could probably put a really neat spin on it. This guy is talking a really good game. He's saying all the right things. I do think that when it comes to remaking something, rebooting, anything like that, you do have to have that respect and love and care for it. You don't need to be there just for a paycheck. If not, you're going to fuck it up. So I like everything he's saying, but I mean, saying and doing are two different things. Now, as it stands right now, this movie is not in production or anything, but they are in talks. They're talking to news outlets about it and stuff like that. So this seems like something Robert Rodriguez would do. It seems like kind of just like that out there movie, and I'm sure he's working on something right now, but there's nothing like huge that he's working on that we know of right now. So what do you think about seeing Robert Rodriguez or not, just a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake? And how's the Creature from the Black Lagoon relate to you?
To be completely honest with you, Jacob, I really can't speak to The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I would be interested in seeing the movie. I am familiar with the title. I would put that definitely in the category of just, great horror movies like, Don't Look Now and Suspiria and things of that nature. But as far as Robert Rodriguez, I do like him. He was behind, Grindhouse and Machete.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Sin City.
He worked with Quentin Tarantino a lot. So I really did like those movies. So in that regard, and then we know Nicotero from Day of the Dead, right? So
I think he's in Day of the Dead. I know he works on The Walking Dead too, but he may have been on part of Day of the Dead as well.
The way I think about it, those two in a mashup could be like, in regards to any movie monster, would be a good collaboration. But I do agree with what that person said about the respect in terms of the remakes, because
Yeah.
that's one thing that I feel like a lot of these newer directors are lacking. Like, it's okay to put your own spin on something, but it's like, you can't uh, you just can't take something and change it up to your own liking, and to me trademark infringement. I mean, it's like, you can't pour Pepsi in a Coke bottle and then serve it as Coke. Like, that's not, I mean, even if Pepsi may be okay with that, because personally I don't like Pepsi, I that they have a product that they stand by. I mean, if I was, that's why Stephen King doesn't get involved in a lot of stuff that people remake. I mean, for one thing, a book is always subjective. I mean, people don't know how to interpret. I mean, everybody interprets a book differently. So I know he always stands, and every time he hears about one of his remakes, he probably just sits back like, okay, let me see what they do. I'm not going to involve myself in any regard to your movie, because that would lend a bias towards me liking you as a director more so than the other dozen people that have done remakes of my movies. And it's like, why should I get with you? And then the few people that he has gotten involved with, it's usually not on his big movies. Like, you know, I mean, like, he's been there for like his smaller movies that not many people have seen. Like, he's been involved with,
A lot of the TV
for
movies and
instance.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to mention, like Storm of the Century and, things, Rose Red, things like that, that people really haven't seen. But there are people that have read those books and haven't seen the movies. And sure, that's the same thing. Like, when you think a book is better than a movie, it's usually because you appreciate the original content. So, I
Sure.
mean, there are just a lot of things that I don't honestly want to see remade at all. And, I'm like, I mean, like Candyman, for instance. I'm glad they put Tony Todd in it,
Hmm.
but if they hadn't, then I probably wouldn't even have seen it. I was like, okay, personally, Transformers. When they remade that, I was really upset. I am a big fan of G1 Transformers, the cartoon from 1987 and 1993.
Yeah.
And the 1986 movie was is very near and dear to my heart, the cartoon movie. And then when they just, they remade it, and then they used Bumblebee, and, it just really made me
He
mad.
became a
Bumblebee was a
Camaro.
very minuscule character in the sense of the thing. He was like a pet to the Transformers. Like, they should have had so many more people that would have made that into a $122 million, in his first couple of days.
Sure.
I'm sure it did shatter the records that it, did
Oh yeah,
without
it did
looking at
well.
the, just because of that, everybody has such high expectations. I like the movie itself, but I'm saying that there are always going to be those hardcore fans, especially when you make a remake of something that you have to. I mean, like, take The Shining, okay, and then take Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep was a great movie, but that brought out the fans of The Shining. And
Sure.
in my, it's like Doctor Sleep had such a great movie with those powers being stolen and everything. Like, they didn't really have anything to do with The Shining, so they should have just didn't. They maybe they shouldn't have correlated them.
That was
Make something
that
new
movie
and
was a catch
fresh.
22 for him. There's no way they could have followed up The Shining and people weren't going to give him shit. I mean, it wasn't a remake, but it was almost like it was a remake because it had been so long and it was dealing with that same world. So I see what you're saying. Like, that was they
You
were.
have to avoid stepping into great. It's like the quote is, avoid stepping in a great man's shoes, because you end up. You know what I mean? Don't, like, if you're the president's son, okay? Everybody's going to be looking at you like, oh, are you going to become the president tomorrow? That may not even be your aspiration,
Yeah.
but because, like these remakes, like, especially if something's just pivotal, the upper echelon of that genre, and then people decide that, oh, I'm going to just see if I can repackage this, and even, they don't even have, I mean, how could you possibly think that you're going to even reach the. You know what I mean? That movie may have been one of the ones that inspired you to, like me. That's why I haven't done Basic Instinct or Fatal Attraction. Those movies are like what led me to do this genre, basically. It's
Sure.
like, if I were to just make some, goofy, effortless video on Basic Instinct, that would be me, like, turning in my thesis paper. And, at the end of my, like, my thesis, I'm just not going to care about that. I've had like a 3.5 all the way up to I'm finally about to turn in my thesis, and I just decided to make that video 4 minutes long. Here you go, guys. It would just be like, I want to save that to where I can actually respect it and do well with it. So
Sure.
that's
And
how I feel about remakes and things.
I think the remake in Hollywood now, it's almost like it's becoming a bad word. It is. It kind of has. I think typically there is a negative connotation attached to the word remake or even reboot because they just remake everything. It's like you hear a lot of people say there's no original ideas in Hollywood anymore. That's why. I think there are original ideas, but I think there's a whole lot of people looking back wanting to remake things. My question is, it sounds like this guy wants to remake it for the right reason. Because I do think that, like, I always wanted to see, and they've done it now, but before they had done it, I always wanted to see a remake. I don't want to see a remake of a lot of stuff. I wanted to see a remake of Planet of the Apes before we got the Tim Burton and so on. I wanted to see that because this is one of my favorite movies. And I was like, this movie could actually benefit from being remade in modern day. It didn't. Right. If you've seen the Tim Burton one, it did not. It wasn't until years later that we got the good ones. But either way, I wanted that. But I wanted it because I thought, hey, there's a reason, not just to make money, this movie could benefit from it. And I think a lot of remakes, like all these Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes and even the Transformers, I could see that because I don't know, like a live action one, if they could have done that back then. Now, where they went with it, that's a different story, but I get that. But some movies, I feel like more movies are remade for the wrong reason than anything, and that's why, not for a passion and a love for the property, but for the wrong damn reasons, and that's why a lot of these remakes end up failing, or not even financially. A lot of these remakes make a lot of money. I mean, they make a lot of money.
That's what I was just getting on. It's just clickbait. Like thinking since of us being YouTubers, it's just a clickbait title. And then it's packaged up in a winning name already, okay? People
exactly.
are going to be on already just by hearing one of their favorite movies are being remade. And
sure.
They may not even have any expectations for it. Just the fact that the premise is the same, that may be enough just to draw them out to it. You know, just that someone even likes the movie that they like. You know, a lot of movies I don't think anyone else has even seen. And then I'll put it on, you know, sneakily, and they'll be like, oh, that's my favorite movie too. And it's like, you know, so.
I mean, I don't know, man. I like what this guy's saying. And I think Robert Rodriguez makes it. I'll be behind it. I mean, I even watched that the movie on Netflix not long ago, We Can Be Heroes. It's pretty much Shark Girl and Lava Boy 2. If I watch that of his, I'll watch anything. So I'm down with him. I think that the guy, he's a really creative director, and I don't feel like Robert Rodriguez makes a movie. If they come out and say, yes, the Nicotero and Robert Rodriguez are making Creature from the Black Lagoon, I'll feel pretty comfortable with it because I don't feel like Robert Rodriguez ever gets involved with a movie that he's not passionate about. And not saying he doesn't always make a hit, but I think that you can tell he's passionate about the movies he makes. So while I don't have like a particular nostalgia or fondness of the Creature from the Black Lagoon, it's been so long since the damn thing's been around. If it's done right and it's done with the right love and care and they preserve the spirit of the original, then I'd be down with seeing a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake. I mean, it worked for like Invisible Man. They came out with that one and I was like, oh, that's going to be terrible. That was actually pretty good. And there's something else here recently, I can't remember. They've remade a couple of these things, and I feel like they've gotten the right people with the right mindsets to make them, and they've actually turned out well. But you never know. It's like a crapshoot, man, with these remakes, because there's so many of them that are remade, rebooted, retooled, and you're just like, why are you doing this? Well, the answer is money. I don't know if the Creature from the Black Lagoon, well, yeah, it's name recognition. I think everybody's heard the name, but I don't think it's one of those names that most people are going to hear and they're going to be like, fuck yeah, I got to go see that right now. I think people are just going to be like, oh, yeah, that's a fish guy, I think. Yeah. Monster Squad? Yeah. I mean, it's not... Name recognition will help, but I don't think it's going to sell it. Now, Creep Show that Nicotero's in, I have not seen the Creep Show that's on Shudder. I've seen the movies from back in the day. I love those. But I hear the Creep Show is really good, and he's claiming that that's why he got involved with Creep Show, and that's why it's been well, because he had a care and a love for that property, and he went into it that way. And that's how he's wanting to go into this. So if that be the case, I mean, these might be the right guys for it. And I wish them all the luck, and I hope so. I'll be keeping my... ear to the ground to see if maybe in the next year or two we're going to get a Creature from the Black Lagoon reboot. Who knows? We'll see.
If they do that, they might as well do Swamp Thing. I mean, come on. I'm all about that.
Well, they did. The
Toxic
oh,
Avenger.
Shit, yeah. Now, if Toxic Avenger is remade, it would have to be remade by Troma, though. because you can't make like a big budget Toxic Avenger that
Wow.
loses
Wow.
it'll lose its appeal. That's one of the great things about the Toxic Avengers. It's so low budget, it's so janky that's what makes it work. But no, I am interested to see where they go with this, and I hope if it happens, I hope these guys are the ones involved, and if they are, then I'll be interested to see what they got. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Jarcast Movie Podcast. If you like this and want more, then check out the Jarcast live stream every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central Time on the Jacob Anders Review YouTube channel, where you can also find movie reviews every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. You can also listen to the entire podcast on all major podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Google, and iTunes. So if you prefer audio, whichever one is your preferred, check it out there. Once again, I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. And as always, stay sexy, YouTube.